So today I'm joined by Gary Stevens. Gary is the managing director of Focus SB, who manufacture bespoke premium electrical accessories made to order in-house. So welcome, Gary.
Thanks, Simon. Pleasure
Good
to
to
be
have
here.
you. Yeah, good to have you on, Gary. So, Gary, tell us a little bit more about Focus SB.
Okay, so Focus SB started life off back in 1978. Well, it started life off as Sussex Brassware, which is the SB part of Focus SB. And it was quite a small company based down here in Hastings, and primarily focused on architectural ironmongery, door handles and that sort of thing, mainly in polished brass, to be honest with you. And they introduced a matching range of electrical accessories to their portfolio over the coming years. And then I think the company went through a few changes of ownership. So a couple of big groups came in and bought them and sold them on and that sort of thing. And in that time, there was some changes in management. And then there was a little bit of a split, so I understand. And the Focus Electrical was started by a number of that management team. So Focus Electrical, Cisco Brassware went their separate ways. And then in about the year 2000, I think they all saw the light and decided to go full circle and join forces again. So Focus SB was born around about 2000 in that respect. And very quickly, I think the architectural ironmongery went by the wayside. I guess there was a lot of competition around and such like. And so they decided to just concentrate on electrical wiring accessories, but in the kind of not the mass produced type plastic wiring accessories, but this sort of thing here. I don't know whether you can see that, but that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So kind of all different weird and wonderful finishes. Brasses, bronzes, the finishes of kind of, it's a bit like a fashion industry, really. They come and go over the years, and at the moment, bronzes seem to be the in vogue finishes, and matte black for some reason. So yeah, so
So
that's when it's
what was the other
that's when
colour
it
there? You
started.
said bronze, and what was the other?
Bronze and matte black.
Matte black.
Is
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
very, very popular finish at this moment in time, and that could be for a variety of reasons. It could be that it could be the kitchen manufacturing kind of fraternity have started that trend, or it could be somewhere else. Lighting or door furniture, that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, it's surprising where the kind of the influences come from, really.
Yeah. And so Gary, do you sell wholesale to sort of like the big retailers, or is it individual orders that you take? How does that work?
It's a little bit of both, Simon. So
Hmm.
we don't sell to the kind of the B&Qs of this world,
Hmm.
but we do sell through the electrical wholesaling market.
Hmm.
That may not mean anything to you, but companies like Edmondson's and
Hmm.
WF and those sorts of companies, and we also have some independents as well, who some of them are actual stockists of our product. But some people, in fact, I was asked the other day about our customers, and our customers are, I guess, we're a little bit unique in so much as our customer, generally speaking, isn't necessarily the company that places the order and pays the bill, although
Okay.
in the strictest sense they are the customer. But the people who actually who put forward our products are, the people who are involved in designing a building. So, architects, interior designers, consultant engineers, installers. Those are the people who kind of have the influence, and the end clients, of course. So our main kind of focus, if you like, or our sales team's focus is to get the product specified on high-end residential projects, high-end hospitality, hotels, and heritage buildings. Those are the three main areas that our products are sold into.
Great. Okay. No, thank you for that, Gary. That's yeah. No, look, that's,
Mhm.
that's brilliant. Thank you for that explanation. So Gary, I think am I right in saying that you've been the managing director for about 8 years? Is that, have I got
Yeah,
that?
it was 2016. First beginning of January 2016 was when I first came in. I've known the company a long time.
Yeah.
I knew the previous chairman and major shareholder who's since retired. I've known him for a long time. In fact,
Yeah.
they were a customer of mine when I was in a previous company. So I've
Okay.
known him for a very long time. Yeah, but yeah, 8 years for me.
8 years. Okay. So look, let's delve down into this in a bit more sort of detail. What would you say your main role as a managing director is, Gary?
I guess it's to set the strategy
Mm-hmm.
and almost set the vision for the team to kind of realise. And that's. I mean, I was initially brought in because of my experience in the manufacture of electrical accessories,
Mm-hmm.
because that wasn't where Focus started off as, and has only really kind of been in the last 8 to 10 years actually manufacturing electrical wiring accessories. Previous to that, it was they manufactured the plates, finished the plates in different finishes, and polished the plates into polished brass plates and such like. But the actual electrical part they bought from other companies.
Okay.
So part of my main role for coming in here was to get them on that road to becoming self-sufficient, because they're self-sufficient in every other sense. We're the only electrical accessory manufacturer that does their own in-house finishing, and now we have our own electrical insert. So that was primarily one of the main reasons and main drivers for me coming in here, and then obviously to set the strategy going forward, and as I say, set the vision.
Okay. So okay, great. So there was an element of expertise there that the company wanted to attract, but also they wanted your skills, knowledge, experience to set the strategy and the vision for the business going forward,
Yeah.
and you see that as a key role. Great. Okay. So
Mm.
um, and how, if you don't mind me asking, let's say in terms of employees,
Yeah.
how big is Focus SB?
So we've got around about 67 full-time equivalents,
Okay.
based on 3 sites in St Leonard's, all
Okay.
on the same industrial estate. We've got the main manufacturing factory where I'm sitting now, and then we've got 2 others literally quarter of a mile up the road. One is assembling finished goods, and the other one is one we took on more recently. Well, say recently, about 5 years ago, which is the where we punch out most of the kind of plates, the back blank plates and such like, and we've got a showroom up there and various other things.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 67 people, full-time equivalents, based down here and out on the road, etc.
Okay. So you're effectively responsible for and the leader for 67 employees across 3 different sites.
Yeah.
What what challenges do you face in being responsible and being the leader of that?
Yeah, it's quite can be quite a heavy burden. So try not to think too much about that. But I guess I mean, everyone's got different styles, haven't they? I guess I just happen to be more laid back and relaxed
Mhm.
in my approach, and I personally think, purely because I operate better this way, I think that people respond better, and work better in that kind of atmosphere, rather than the kind of the big brother, something constantly hanging over you. Because I've been in that environment in myself in the past, and it's not conducive to a happy ship, and a happy ship generally is a productive one.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it can be, as I say, it can be a bit of a burden in that respect. But yeah, I just like to try and encourage people to do a good job and enjoy it. Have a bit of fun along the way.
It's important, isn't it, to for people to enjoy what they in what they do.
Absolutely, yeah,
And yeah, look, what you sort of said there reminds me of something very much that I work with a lot of my clients on, which is, and it's from a book by a gentleman called Stephen Covey, which is you've got two different sort of management styles. You've got one which is command and control.
Yeah.
It's very much the dictatorial sort of way and telling people what to do. And it
Yeah.
sounds to me as though your style is the other style, which is trust and inspire.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So create that trust and inspire, and people will then generally do the right things. So
Well,
so
they do. Yeah.
you've got you said there about setting the strategy and vision. Have you got?
Hmm.
Are you supported by a senior team that that then assists you and in implementing that strategy and business in sorry vision in the business?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's quite an experienced team here.
Hmm.
In fact, talking about experience, there's I can't remember the last count now, but there must be at least a dozen, if not more, people with over 25 years experience.
Mm.
There's a couple of people who are coming up for 40 years, and one person's coming up to 50 years this year.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of experience. But what one of the other things I was keen to do when I came in here was to introduce the next generation
Hmm.
of engineers, designers, marketers, whatever you want to, whichever area of the business you want to think of. And so we have peppered that now with apprentices, trainees, graduates, and that's something I'm looking to try and kind of foster as much as possible. I mean, that's my background, so it's kind of close to my heart in that respect. And I think it's important, especially in manufacturing. A lot of young people, I think, have the misconception that manufacturing is a dirty industry and maybe a bit boring, sitting in front of a machine, repetitive kind of, and there are elements of that. And as we know, there are elements of repetitiveness in any job and any kind of
Mm.
walk of life. So, yeah, so yes, there is a senior management team representing all parts of the business, and and again, I don't profess to know all of the answers, and I encourage people to challenge. If I come up with a weird and wonderful idea, I would expect people to challenge it if they all thought it was a bit wacky or whatever. And we sit down and work things out, and it seems to be working okay at the minute.
Yeah, I think. Well, look, I mean, in my view, that's they're qualities of a good leader. Um, Accepting that you don't know everything
Yeah,
and being open to challenge.
yeah.
What else do you think are good qualities of a successful leader?
I think there's the obvious, the lead by example bit.
Hmm.
I think that's prevalent in all walks of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm a big sports fan, and football in particular. And
What team do you support, Gary?
I wish you wouldn't have asked me that now. Birmingham City, unfortunately, for my sins. I blame that on my late father, so it's all his fault.
Okay, well, I'm a West Ham fan for my sins, so
Oh, right, okay. So we've got a little bit in common there with the
yeah,
Golden Sullivan there. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely, yeah. So sorry, go on. You were saying, yeah. So lead by example, and
yeah, and as I say, it's a bit like team sports, isn't it? It's recognizing those people who respond better to an arm around the shoulder,
mhm.
those people who respond better to a little bit of a talking to. So it's kind of, I think it's getting that balance right, getting the blend right.
Who
But
would
as I say,
you say if you were to pick a football manager that you think has got it right in terms of leadership? Is there one in particular that stands out to you?
right, I guess it depends what you mean by leadership in that context. I guess Alex Ferguson is the kind of almost the obvious.
Hmm.
Uh, Brian Clough, showing my age a little bit now,
Yeah,
before him, and obviously in the modern day, it's got to be Pep Guardiola, hasn't it? He's just a genius.
yeah.
And again, he seems to know. Not only does he know how to handle his players, but he just seems to be a genius coach, doesn't he? He's reinvented the game a couple of times, and everybody seems to be following suit. Not necessarily getting it as right as him, but yeah, I would say those guys are the ones that spring to mind.
Yeah, I share mine with you. I think who stands out to me at the moment is Jurgen Klopp.
Yep.
And the reason I say that is because actually it actually triggered that in something you said earlier. I think he's got the right balance of the knowledge about the game, the skill, and all those sort of things,
Yeah.
but also that knowing those things that you said earlier, when to put an arm around his players,
Yeah.
when to guide them, support them, give them encouragement, but also he's got the respect of his team as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
think he's got a very good balance
Yeah.
of having that respect, but also the players love him.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's he's the one that stands out to me. So
Yeah.
okay, so we've got our leading by example. Anything else that springs to mind in terms of good quality of a leader, Gary?
I think, as I say, it's about listening,
Yeah.
listening to your staff, and when I say that, I don't just mean the senior management team.
Mm,
My doors. It sounds like an old cliche, but my door's always open.
mm,
Everyone knows that, and people will take advantage of that. And if they've got something that they want to get off the chest, it may not necessarily be anything to do with work. It could be something personal.
mm.
And and yeah, it's a case of listening and responding in the right way. And again, probably just because of my upbringing, I'm more than comfortable speaking to the senior staff and the people on the shop floor. They're all the same to me. They're all equal to me.
Okay.
And I think they know that. So I think you just gain a little bit of respect by having that attitude as well.
Very good. Like it. Yeah, no, absolutely right. Treat everyone well, treat everyone as equals, which is,
Yeah.
I think really important. And also that what you said there about listening, I think it's a very underestimated skill.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that they listen,
Mm.
uh, but actually, are they really actively listening?
Yeah.
Again, there's a phrase that said, which is listen, uh, listen with the intent to understand, not the intent to respond.
Yeah.
So listen with the intent to understand, not the intent to respond. Because most people, when they're listening, they're thinking of what they're going to say next,
Yeah.
how they're going to respond to what that person's just said, rather
Yeah.
than really listening to understand that person. And I think, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's an amazing skill.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned there about what you've done, with the team about introducing some young blood in there, apprentices, and bringing
Yeah.
people through, which is probably another football analogy in there somewhere, but bringing people through from the academy,
Yeah.
etc. So, how important is it for you to make sure that your team are constantly got personal development and growing and learning new things? How important is that for you as a business owner, a managing director, and as a business?
It's very important, and I guess a good example of that is we've got a very artisan product really. It's a lot of the language we use is about bespoke. It's about handmade, finishing, and those sorts of things, which require a lot of manual skills, a lot of
Mhm.
experience, etc. But at the same time, we're in a busy world. There's more demand coming, which is good, coming our way, and so we have to cope with volumes as well. But at the same time, keeping that kind of, that mystique and that kind of bespoke element to our product. So it's about getting that balance right and the blend right between skills and technology.
Hmm.
And we've moved into technology. We've moved into automation. We've got 2 robots here, and it's not replace people. It's actually enhancing other people's jobs because it does some of the mundane stuff that people don't tend to like to do,
Hmm.
and some of the stuff that humans are not that good at. But at the same time, when you're introducing technology into a business like this, you need the people who can operate that technology, who can manage it, maintain it, program it. So you are creating more skills in those areas, and AI is starting to kind of rear its head a little bit now as well.
Yeah.
We're starting a partnership with Brighton University, looking at various things in our production areas.
Yeah.
So it's very important for the workforce to be agile in that respect, and to be up to speed and up to date with the latest skills and the latest technologies. That's how we'll survive.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think, the phrase I often use is that, as individuals and also as a business, we're like a tree. We can't stand still. A
Mm,
tree can't. A tree is either growing or dying.
mm,
It's never standing still. It's growing or dying, and that's the same as
yeah,
us as individuals. And as a business, by the way. In the
yeah,
either because the world around us is constantly moving forward. You mentioned AI there, and all those things.
yeah,
Constantly, technologies are moving forward. So if we stand still, we're effectively going backwards.
yeah,
So we've got to either effectively using the terminology there, we're dying, but
mm,
either we've got to continue to grow just to keep up with what's happening in the world and everything around us. So, okay, no,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, no, great. Look, and look, there's one question that I like to ask everybody that I have these discussions with, and I'll explain why in a second. But
Mhm.
what what's the best advice that you would give an 18-year-old you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I guess it's to kind of listen to your gut, really. It's always worked for me. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because that's how we learn. And again, I guess it might sound like a bit of an old cliche, but the road or the journey we start on and the destination that we're heading to very often changes, as we know. So that's personal as well as business, isn't it? Things can change a hell of a lot, and there's a lot of curveballs that are thrown in along the way. When take COVID, for instance, none of us expected that.
No.
We had to react to that situation from a business and personal perspective, and it's changed us a lot in a lot of ways. Um, so I think as an 18-year-old, I would say, yeah, listen to your gut, go with your instincts, because they're never far wrong. Go with your instincts. Don't be afraid to make any mistakes, and yeah, keep following that path, because you know uh, success isn't final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage, to continue, that counts. Is an old saying that I've had kind of on the wall for a long time.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So, follow your gut, go with your instincts, learn from your mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
No,
Follow the path there. Yeah, yeah, failure isn't fatal. That's some great stuff there. Thank you for that, Gary. And the reason that I said I'd explain why I asked that question. I've got an 18-year-old daughter,
right,
and I love to be able to share with her, advice, things that I've learned
yeah,
on these discussions. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. So, well, look, Gary, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and sharing more about your business and also your journey. So thank you.
pleasure, no problem. Cheers, Simon.